Welcome to Nation Golden Bachelor News. Sometimes the loudest goodbyes are the ones never spoken. In the world of reality television, breakups usually come with dramatic interviews, tearful confessions, or carefully worded press statements. But this time, something feels different, quieter, heavier. Over the past few days, fans of the Golden Bachelorette have been asking the same unsettling question. Did Joan Vassos just hint at a silent goodbye? There has been no official announcement, no confirmation, no denial, and yet something has changed. A short message, a subtle shift in tone, and a wave of speculation that refuses to fade. Tonight, we're breaking down what Joan said, what she didn't say, and why fans believe it may signal a deeper emotional shift involving Chock Chapple. This isn't about gossip. This is about reading between the lines and understanding why silence can sometimes speak louder than words. The love story fans believed in. When Joan Vassos appeared on The Golden Bachelorette, she quickly became more than just a contestant. She became a symbol of second chances, of love after loss, of finding connection later in life when the world expects you to stop looking. Her connection with Chock Chapple stood out almost immediately. It wasn't flashy, it wasn't rushed. It felt intentional. Viewers saw two people who had lived full lives, carried their own heartbreaks, and still chose to show up, honestly and openly. Their conversations were thoughtful, their moments felt grounded, and their bond seemed built on mutual respect rather than spectacle. That's why so many fans invested emotionally in their journey. They weren't rooting for drama, they were rooting for hope, which is exactly why the recent shift feels so unsettling. The message that started everything. It wasn't a breakup post, it wasn't even explicitly emotional, but it was different. Joan recently shared a message that many fans described as cryptic, reflective, and quietly heavy. The words themselves were simple, about growth, gratitude, and moving forward, but the tone felt introspective in a way that caught people off guard. There was no mention of Chock, no reference to us, no shared future language. Instead, the message centered on personal strength, self-awareness, and embracing change. For casual viewers, it might have seemed harmless, but longtime fans noticed something immediately. This wasn't how Joan usually spoke when she felt secure. Why fans are reading between the lines. Bachelor Nation has learned something over the years. Breakups don't always begin with announcements. They often begin with distance. Fans quickly pointed out several subtle but noticeable changes. A lack of recent shared mentions, a shift from couple-focused language to self-focused reflection, and a noticeable emotional tone that felt more like closure than celebration. Again, none of this proves anything, but in the world of reality TV relationships, patterns matter, and this pattern felt familiar. The power of a silent goodbye. The phrase silent goodbye resonates because it captures something deeply human. Not all relationships end in conflict. Not all endings come with anger or blame. Sometimes two people simply arrive at a quiet understanding, one that doesn't need an audience. If Joan is processing something personal, it would make sense that she'd choose reflection over explanation. For someone like her, thoughtful, composed, emotionally intelligent, silence may feel more honest than a public statement, and that possibility is what's making fans emotional. What hasn't been said is just as important. It's important to be clear. Joan has not confirmed a breakup. Chock Chapple has not issued a statement. There is no official announcement at this time, and that matters. Speculation can easily cross into assumption if we're not careful, but silence, especially from public figures who are usually open, naturally invites questions. Fans aren't demanding answers, they're sensing a shift. And sometimes, intuition is built on emotional familiarity, not headlines. The power of expectation. One reason this story resonates so deeply is because of what Joan and Chock represented. They weren't just a couple, they were proof that love doesn't expire. For viewers who had experienced loss, divorce, or starting over later in life, their relationship felt personal. So when that image feels uncertain, it's not just celebrity news, it's emotional. People aren't just asking, did they break up? They're asking, does this mean happy endings are temporary? And that's a much heavier question. Why Joan's voice matters so much. Joan has always communicated with intention. She doesn't overshare. She doesn't dramatize. She chooses her words carefully. That's why this recent message stood out. It wasn't sad, but it wasn't joyful either. It felt like someone standing at a crossroads. And when a person like Joan pauses, reflects, and speaks softly, people listen. Not because she owes anyone an explanation, but because her authenticity has earned trust. Could this be about something else? Absolutely. It's also possible that Joan's message has nothing to do with a breakup. Life changes happen, personal growth happens, private challenges happen. Not every emotional reflection is romantic, and that's a critical reminder. Sometimes the internet fills in blanks that were never meant to be filled, which is why speculation should always come with compassion. What fans are saying. Across social media, reactions have been emotional but respectful. Many fans are expressing concern rather than judgment. Comments like, "I hope she's okay, whatever she's going through. She doesn't owe us anything, just wishing her peace. If this is the end, I hope it was gentle and mutual." That tone matters. This isn't a scandal-driven reaction. It's a community responding with empathy. Why this story feels different from other rumors. In reality TV, rumors often explode because of chaos. This one feels different because it's quiet. There's no fighting, no accusations, no sudden unfollows or dramatic clues, just a sense of emotional distance and a pause. And sometimes that's the hardest kind of change to accept. What comes next? For now, all we can do is wait. If Joan chooses to speak, she will, on her terms. If she doesn't, that choice deserves respect. Not every chapter needs a public ending. Sometimes the most meaningful transitions happen off-camera. Final thoughts. Respecting the quiet moment. Whether this is a silent goodbye, a moment of reflection, or simply a misunderstanding, one thing is clear. Joan Vassos remains someone who leads with grace, and whatever she's navigating, publicly or privately, deserves patience, not pressure. Love stories don't always end the way they begin, but that doesn't make them any less real. Sometimes the quiet moments tell the truest story of all. If you've been following Joan and Chock's journey, we'd love to hear your thoughts, respectfully. Do you think this message signals a deeper change, or is it simply a moment of personal reflection? Share your perspective in the comments. And as always, thank you for being part of a community that chooses empathy over speculation. Until next time, take care of your hearts.